Can I thank everybody who's worked really hard over the last few weeks to observe all the safety measures, to observe guidance and to keep each other safe. Undoubtedly, it's been very difficult over the last few weeks for everybody, but as a result, we have saved lives, and I would urge people to continue to follow all the guidance and continue to exercise all the safety measures that are in place. Can I also say at this time that our thoughts and prayers as a community are with all those who have lost loved ones during this very difficult, tragic and unprecedented time. I just wanted to take this opportunity to update people on a number of issues. Overwhelming numbers of constituents have been in touch with me on a number of issues, and I thought it may be easier just to provide a brief synopsis of those in this short video. The first of those issues is one that's been going on for the last few weeks, and that's with regards to repatriation of British citizens that are abroad. Now, I've had queries from across the world, but the majority of my queries have been from India, Pakistan and Bangladesh. And I've been pushing the government for the last few weeks now, for those of you that follow me, to repatriate British citizens. I think that is a fundamental duty of any government. The government have been slow in acting on that and have just now started. I mean, I wrote, many of you will have seen, over a week ago now, to the Foreign Secretary, along with just under 60 other MPs demanding repatriation flights. And now to some countries, including Pakistan, and India, those repatriation flights, the chartered flights, are now available. I released a statement around this the other day, and I asked people to follow that. Please contact the High Commission through the links that I've provided to get back. However, the government have not gone far enough. Firstly, my issue with that is it only covers British nationals. There are those who are spouses of British nationals, and others in other categories, and anybody who calls the UK their home should be allowed to return on these flights. Secondly, the financial situation, my view has always been that the government should have paid for these. So the £525 people are paying that. Although there are loans available, I still believe that this should be in the form of a grant, and I'll continue to push the government on that. And thirdly, we want an absolute guarantee from the government that these chartered flights will only end when everybody is safely back home in the UK, and I'll do everything I can to continue to push, and I've written to the government today making those three asks. Secondly, a great deal of people have contacted me, quite rightly, naturally concerned about the real situation, not only faced in Bradford, but throughout the country, around the real shortage of personal protection equipment and other safety measures that are lacking in hospitals at the moment. Now, let me be really clear about this. The government carried out a simulation pandemic exercise back in 2016. So they were fully aware that there's a shortage of personal protective equipment. They were fully aware there's a shortage of ventilators. So the question we need to continue to ask is, why are we faced with this situation today when we've known about this for years even? And it is unacceptable. I've spoke to nurses and other medical professionals on the front line, all of whom, can I pay a big tribute to all our frontline staff who, despite the BMA, the Royal College of Nurses, the Royal College of Doctors, surgeons, despite advice from them that if they feel uncomfortable, they can withdraw, they are still continuing to do the fantastic job on the front line, and they should not be placed in that situation. And I've spoken to nurses and others who frankly are quite rightly and naturally scared at the moment because the personal protective equipment is not being provided to them in the same way it should. And I want to make an assurance that I will continue to push the government on a national level that they need to provide this much needed equipment immediately. I also want to thank the third sector and charities for doing all they're doing. However, it's not the job of the third sector. This is the government's responsibility, and the government is falling shy of its responsibility and needs to provide that equipment as a matter of urgency. Finally, the government has announced a number of packages to support people during this, economic packages. Now, whilst we welcome the economic packages, again, I don't think they go far enough. The government has provided statutory sick pay, which is only £95.85 per week. Is that enough for a family to live on? £95.85 per week. Secondly, that again only lasts 7 to 14 days. What about people who are ill for longer, as we've seen, including the Prime Minister himself? So the government is falling short and needs to go further. Secondly, the scheme around the furlough scheme or the employment retention scheme, there are huge issues with this scheme. Firstly, it is only employers that can decide whether or not to follow this scheme. Employees have no say whatsoever. So if employers want to lay off people, they are still able to do so. Secondly, the delay in payments. Again, the government must go further, and I will continue to press them. Thirdly, the self-employment income support scheme. Again, it is shocking that people who are even eligible for this scheme are having to wait till June. What about all these 3 months? How are people supposed to live? These are some of the most hand-to-mouth working people that we are talking about, people who don't have the luxury of savings, people who don't have the means to support their family in any other way. And the government must go further. The delay in payment, and also if those who are self-employed are earning more than 50%, that's the only eligibility criteria. If they're not earning, or if they're earning from a second job, more than 50%, then they're not covered in this as well. All these are areas that the government has failed on. The government needs to act now. Right here in Bradford, where we have some of the highest levels of deprivation in the country, 50% of children continue to live in poverty. The government is failing on all this, and I will continue to press everybody that has raised these concerns with me. I want you to be assured that I will continue to press the government on all these issues, because it's not good enough that people are being made to live in this manner. Finally, a number of people have raised a number of issues around various conspiracy theories that are out there. I really am not going to go into all of them. All I will say is that if there was any truth in any of them, then I would be here speaking about it. Thank you very much. Stay safe, stay at home, follow all the safety guidance, and take care of yourselves.